Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Look who I have back on the channel. It's my boy Ryan, Carefree Tactics. As you can see, the handle. If the OGs remember, Ryan was doing madness on this channel, and it was probably one of the very few channels from a Chelsea sort of content perspective where we were covering a lot of tactical side of the game, and not only Ryan was providing knowledge, but we were sort of learning together as a unit. And Ryan was learning as well. I was learning as well, and I'm sure you guys were all learning as well. And I think it's very important at times to realize what is really going on deep down and understand what Thomas Tuchel's doing and understand our tactics, our strategy, why certain personnel are playing and where they're playing. But before we get into all of that, my man, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm really excited to be here again. It's been a long while since August, and just happy to be here. It's Christmas holidays, so luckily we have a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on, and I'm here to calm the storm. We're in a little bit of a storm, but I think I have some positivity to bring with this tactical review because there's a lot of promise in what we're seeing. Though it might not be obvious on the eye at first, but when I explain it, you'll feel good too. Hopefully.
Oh man, I'm excited. And you know what, Ryan, you said it perfectly. There is a bit of storm brewing and there's a little bit of hoo-ha in the Chelsea fan base, a little bit of unsettlement happening where some people are not really happy with the way we're playing, which is quite understandable. There is injuries and whatnot, but it'd be great to see what you have to say about all of this and really break it down to calm the people down. And as you said, stay patient, stay patient, good things will come along. All right, let's get straight into this. I'm going to play the intro. Let's go.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we're back again on the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, I've got Ryan here. Ryan, over to you, my man.
Yeah, well, I just shared my screen so we can get that up. We have the most previous lineup there against Leeds. I just really want to say that throughout last season and this season, we have seen a change in our approach to playing. Last season we were underdogs. Teams didn't know what to expect from us. We definitely played a counter-attacking game. And thus our press was organized in that way. We were able to win back the ball in the opposition's half and counter attack. With that counter attack, we were able to keep a steady back five. So defensively, we were really solid. Earlier this season, we have seen a bit of a transition where teams were not giving us that high line anymore. They were not giving us that space. We are the champions of Europe. So now what team's going to do? They're going to sit back, set up two lines of four or whatever, match our back five in a low block. And with that, naturally, we have to find solutions. We can't keep putting only four guys forward, five guys forward. What we have seen is a change from an attacking five. Before Tuchel, we saw most popularly, everybody knew it was the attacking five and the back five.
Yeah.
But that is no more anymore. What we're seeing now is even a transition to attacking 6 or 7 with a back 3 staying behind. And what we're seeing is during this transition, we are learning how to press with new shapes. We're learning how to defend with new shapes. And we're learning how to stop that transition. We're struggling with that transition right now. But I want to firstly explain the attacking side. And why is it so necessary?
Let's do this. Yeah.
So I'm just going to go straight ahead with the Leeds game because, we want to start with the most recent. In the Leeds game, we saw a switch in tactics. What everybody would have seen is the implementation of inverted wing backs, right?
Yeah, because Werner was really hugging the touchline. He was more of a left winger, really.
Exactly, bro. You're good. Yeah, that's exactly.
And Reece James was like in a cam position a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've noticed too. And there's a lot of reasons for this. A lot of step-by-step movements that occurred for this to happen. Firstly, I want to say that everybody going to be like, this is not new. We've seen this like months ago with Chilwell being inverted. Well, no, it is different because before the starting position of our wing backs used to be wide.
Yeah.
Then they used to drift in and get in behind, right?
Yeah.
Recently, and I mean recently, up to the last game against Leeds, we've seen a difference in our approach to low blocks where the starting position of our wing backs is actually inverted now. And the reason for this is that we want a presence between the lines to persons who can receive the ball and turn and release. The thing is, beforehand, what happened is that our original attacking midfielders used to be here, but when they received the ball, they got trouble with their back towards goal.
Yeah.
So they'd often back pass, and it would just be a whole cycle, unproductive cycle. So that is how why we have these two players here, because they can turn. Now, as a result, this what you're seeing here, this doesn't make sense. Whereas the width, well, since with attacking midfielders, you would notice that you need wide wingers, right, to provide those gaps. And that is what you see with Pep Guardiola's team too. They have their attacking midfielders, then they'd have Sterling and Mahrez wide, really wide. One reason why you want wide wingers in this case is so that you can stretch the opposition's back line. When you stretch the opposition's back line, there will be space for movement in behind. But one tactical change you will see, and people are going to be like, well, I never see Alonso receive the ball here and turn, because he doesn't. What would happen is Alonso would stray into a left striker position, allowing Havertz to roam. Sometimes Havertz would get in behind, sometimes he would drop, sometimes you go left, right, wherever. What happens here now is that Loftus-Cheek will step in here to turn on the left-hand side. And Jorginho would assume a lone DM role. What we're going to see here now is that before, right? I wouldn't spend time to draw boxes and this and that, right? But before, we would see that our inverted wing backs with Chilwell and Reece James, they would have freedom to roam vertically in behind. But now we're seeing a difference where let's say this is the box. Let's just say this is the box between the lines here. That this is the space they rule, right? These players. Instead of having a vertical freedom now, what we'd see is that we would see that now they have a horizontal freedom now. This is why sometimes you'd see Reece James here, you'd see Loftus-Cheek here, you'd see Alonso here.
And I think the heat map will correspond to that. The heat map will confirm that Reece James and Ruben Loftus-Cheek are operating in those areas.
Yeah, and they interchange it now. Now they have freedom. They not only have vertical freedom, they also have horizontal freedom. And what that does is allows these two players to collect the ball between the lines and turn and release to our front four. And this is so important because how much times we saw yesterday that Reece James, on the turn, he was monstrous in central areas. And Loftus does it from time to time too. And one thing I like about Loftus, I saw your video too. You didn't like his game yesterday.
I didn't, but I'm willing to be proven wrong, because
But
from what I saw, I just felt like when it came to the final third, once again, he just didn't provide that impetus. And even in midfield, I just don't feel like he completely controlled that Leeds midfield, because Leeds in the second half was just running us ragged.
Yeah, I totally get you there. I think I agree with the negatives you saw. I think he could do more on the turn. But what I like about him on the turn, the good signs is that his head is up. And he's looking. I wouldn't say he successfully finds those passes in behind, but I've seen 4 to 5 times that he tried to put them in behind. And that's really good. That's what I want to see from my midfielders.
So basically what you're saying, Ryan, is that you like the intent of what Ruben Loftus-Cheek was trying to do, besides the execution, I suppose.
And I like the intent of the person, of his position, because I'm thinking Mateo Kovacic could do that. He could put those precise passes. He could drive you on the turn. So that's why I feel so excited for Kovacic coming back. Even Kante, he might not find those final passes, but he can do that role too. So back to this now. What we've seen is an even further attacking change. Yes, you can see so much players forward here getting into the final third, but sometimes with a line of 5 and 4, even this isn't enough. Even this isn't enough. And what one change we have seen is that, okay, Mason Mount, you don't want him here. He's not a wide winger. You want
Yeah.
Mason Mount, you want Havertz to get in. You want Mason to be around here.
Yeah.
Well, in those positions, sometimes we would see Reece James get back wide or whatever. They would
Mm-hmm.
also be interchanging a lot. But one thing I've noticed is that with Aspi playing as right centre back, we would see
Yeah.
Jorginho step in here, and then
100%.
Aspi would be right here. So now this
And
could
this was
form.
evident against Leeds clearly. Like you could see Aspie at times was the furthest out wide and he was trying to whip in crosses from there.
Yeah, so now this could be like a rotating triangle to send
Yeah.
in crosses, and all of a sudden you would have, oh, um, yeah, all of a sudden you would see Werner getting in behind Alonso, Loftus Cheek, and all of a sudden you'd see here we have a back three alone, an attacking seven and a back three. And this is for all the people who are bad talking our defense. Well, this needs to be expected because when Klopp implemented an attacking style in Liverpool, they struggled with the defense at first, right? Let's pretend this is Tuchel's first season here because it basically
Yeah.
is. This is the second half of his first season,
Yeah.
of his
Yeah.
first year. We are implementing a new style. Let's think about in the last 2 months, it's a new style. Forget about that he arrived in January. It's a new style, and we should be happy that Tuchel is trying to implement attacking football into Chelsea. He's trying to change the dynamic. Anytime you try to put in an attacking seven, you're going to have a transition period where you need to figure out how we're going to protect these last three players here. Right?
Yeah.
And for all those people calling out, we need a back four, we need a back four. Well, I ask you the question, what is the difference now? Because now we have two centre backs and a DM left
There is
behind.
absolutely no difference. This is why I get so annoyed, Ryan, when people are consistently sort of asking for, we need to switch to a back four. We need to. I think what they really mean is, Ryan, is we need to have more attacking personnel as opposed to the formation itself. Do you know what I'm talking about? They want to see another attacking player as opposed to another defensive player.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you too, because I would have loved to see Mount here instead of Loftus, and then like to see Ziyech here and Hudson-Odoi here.
Yeah, yeah.
I would, especially as Werner was a wide winger most of the time, I would have liked to see Hudson and Ziyech, and then Mount playing a deeper role where he could get those passes in. But you know, it's a busy period, so we need rotation.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk about, we saw one of our centre backs here. Aspi, since he's a natural right back, he would cross in from these positions, right? But we also seen positions where,
Rudiger.
yeah, we've seen positions where, let me just bring back Aspi here, where Rudiger would get forward, but what would happen now? Rudiger wouldn't get here; he would get in more centrally. This would allow Alonso to get up, and now we could form a little triangle here where he can pass, he could run in behind, or he could shoot. He mostly tries to shoot or run in behind. I think this is really important. Let me just fix this.
And also, it's not a coincidence that he ends up getting 2 penalties yesterday as well. Rudiger he finds himself in the box quite often these days.
Exactly, and this is another thing. We have these. This is looking kind of unneat. Just tidy it up so it look the part. But this is basically how we attacked. And we're attacking with our attacking seven now. We have a back three of 2 CDs and 1 DM, which is what you would get with a back four. And now the problem is, there's two problems. But before we get into these two problems, Miss, what do you think so far? Have you seen these things? Do you agree?
I
What's your thoughts?
100% have seen these things. I cannot lie to you. I've been seeing this not just yesterday. I've seen this in recent times against Juventus. I've seen it against Leicester. Obviously, we had Chilwell back then. And Chilwell, I don't know if you remember, Ryan, there were at times where he was like a false nine. He was the furthest. He was like a striker at times. So this is something I've definitely seen. Whether we are being able to execute it to the absolute perfection, that's another debate to have, because I don't think we've been able to execute Tuchel's plan, because I've noticed this evolution since the start of this season. I've noticed, and you've always said, Ryan, this back three, situation that we have, we've not even explored 10% of what it can really do. And I think Thomas Tuchel's trying to do that And when Ben Chilwell was there alongside Reece James, and when they were both fit, I think we saw the total fruits of what it could really do. But at the moment, I think the execution's failing us.
I don't mind it because I think against Burnley we drew, and I
Yeah,
was seeing different movements. I was seeing like this is the movements is the foundation. The chemistry will come after,
yeah,
but the movements is the foundation. Because for the chemistry, you need those man passes, you need those quick interchanges, you need those rotations. But what I've been seeing against Burnley, this is a couple months ago,
yeah.
there were the movements. That's when Chilwell were introduced back to the side. And then a couple games after, we got in those really good form for about 3 to 4 games when everything was going fine. And this is exactly what I'm seeing again. Yes, for the part, I said it on my space a couple games ago. I was like, listen, it's been 3 games now. Chilwell is out. It's been a
Yeah.
couple games that we have to integrate back Werner and Lukaku. It's nothing new now. We've had Tuchel's had time to think. What I'd like to see now is how Tuchel is going to approach his tactics. I want to see a tactical difference in his approach, not difference in shape, but difference in approach. And
Yeah, because of the
this
different
is
personnel, I suppose.
yeah, and this is exactly what I saw against Leeds, and that's why I was so happy, even though we scraped a win, because
Yeah.
I've seen the difference. I'm seeing the movements. I'm seeing the constant rotations in our attacking seven. Man. I'm really happy with it. One thing I would say needs to improve though is a bit of chemistry. For example, when Reece James receives the ball on the turn, right? Let me just pull out my ball there so people could see what's going on.
Here we go. The ball's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting serious now.
Yeah, so she said, man.
Classic Ryan.
Yeah. So what I'd like to see, I'm really happy with the verticality. You
Yeah.
know, I just want to mention this briefly is that do you notice that many times Jorginho is so smart? A lot of people try to mark Jorginho, but you can't. You know why? Because yes, sometimes he would drift here, and then Silva would have the freedom to roam and be a
And
ball
we
player.
saw this yesterday. We saw Silva roam forward.
And then he would drift here, or sometimes he would come high up near to our wing backs and then open up space for Silva to roam and then find that pass. So you can't mark him. He's always moving in between here or moving here and then
Yeah.
finding space to either receive the ball or making space for the other passers to have time on the ball.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. What I want to say is that what I really want to see, we have 2 problems. Firstly, when our players receive the ball, these 2 guys here, when they receive the ball on the turn, they are isolated from each other, meaning that normally our players would be isolated and it would normally be a really, I would say, predictable pass. Reece James can either cut in and shoot or lay it off the mount where you can just overlap again. That's some basic movements we're seeing once the ball is here. What I want to see, which is really evident if you watch Inter Milan with Inzaghi, he is the king, even with Lazio, he is the king of
Yeah.
when the ball reaches the final third man, one touch passing, direct football. That is what I want to see. And this is what we saw with Tuchel and PSG too. We want when the ball is received here that we want bodies around here. We want bodies around. So
Yeah.
we could have quick interchanges, get in behind, and then get goals. We want that
Mm.
chemistry. We want that rotation. We want that chemistry. I think we will get there because Tuchel thinks like that too.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is just because it isn't working, do not be afraid because the foundations is being set. Just now we'll
I
get the
love
nice
it.
windows, we'll paint the house, we'll get the couches, get the AC. But right now we have a solid foundation that we see in brewing.
And do you know what, Ryan? These sort of things, and this is why I get annoyed sometimes when fans say Tuchel needs to change things up. Tuchel needs. They take time, man. Like
Mhm.
as you can see, he is trying to change things up. He is trying to provide a little bit more attacking impetus against teams that are going to sit back or defend well. Leeds is not necessarily a team that sat back, but when they defended very well. So
I
you
think
know.
that this time they did sit back. And they counted us on the transition. They had 2 lines of defense and it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
deep.
but I feel like they press well as well, man. They press well.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is that we talked about the attacking part, and it's going to take some time with changing the legacy of Chelsea. They're known to be a
Mm.
defensive club. We're changing it to an attacking dynamic club. This is
Yeah.
not only going to help us with this shape, it's going to help us when if we ever change our back four. It's going to help us when Tuchel leaves and hopefully doesn't, but whenever he does and a new manager comes in.
The fundamentals are set, do you know what I mean,
Because
for the club to carry out.
we have young players here learning this new trade. They're learning
Yeah.
this new way
Yeah.
of football that is you don't really see with English football, with English managers.
Mm.
So what I want to say is that what problem we have is a defensive problem. Let's
Yeah,
just bring
let's
back
touch on
RSP
this a
here.
little bit because lately we've been a bit too open, Ryan.
Yeah, and what we see is that when Jorginho steps in behind here, Thiago has to roam and cover all his ground to defend.
Mm.
Normally you see Thiago just being a sweeper here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now as that last one behind, he has to cover way more ground, which is not the best case for him. I
Yeah.
think that we need to figure out a way how to press in an organized way upon losing the ball.
Mm.
Because
Anticipate that you're going to lose the ball and how to shake back immediately.
exactly, because when you are playing those passes, right,
Mm.
you're bound to lose the ball because we're taking chances with these passes, with these shots. I'm just
Mm.
putting back to last season's formation, right? Our
Yeah.
normal double pivot back three, right? Upon losing the ball last season, what you'd see is that we would have an attacking five and a defensive five, right? So attacking five, defensive five here, right?
Mm.
And our press was basically easy. Through central positions, we would press with this five here,
Yeah.
and then through wide positions, the wing back and wide CV would work to win the ball. There's two shapes that happens here, right? Um, I won't draw it out, but there's a shape centrally here where you could win the
Hmm.
ball back in central areas and then attack and score. And then there's a shape here, a diamond, where you could win the ball in wide areas
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
diamond. You could press, that press you could stifle players with that press, win back the ball, and set it off for
Brilliant.
our boys up
Brilliant.
front to
Yeah.
score.
Yeah.
The thing is, that's because if you watch our shape on attacking, it was basically predictable. It was
Mm.
our formation. It was wide wing backs, double pivot, front three.
Yeah.
Thing is now, with our current shape, it's a bit different. Our current shape, we're seeing things like this. We're seeing things like this. This is our current shape basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting players in between the lines in the box as much with a back three. The thing is, these three are exposed no matter how you take it. And
Mm.
that's the risk you take to play attacking football. When Pep Guardiola played attacking football, this was the risk he took. When Tuchel played it, when Klopp played it, all
Yeah.
these guys played, this is the risk. How many times we say Liverpool has a high line, we can get in
Yeah.
behind. But
Yeah.
you know what saves them? Is that press on top to make sure that even if they do not win the ball back, they delay to 3 to 4 seconds where the defensive players could get back on
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we need. We need a delay. And
Basically, what you're saying, Ryan, is that attack, but also have in mind if the ball is lost, how do you drop back into position where you don't let the back three in this particular diagram, completely exposed. So
exactly.
it requires immense focus.
And the thing with pressing is different. You know why? Because pressing is a simultaneous job.
Yeah.
While certain players press, the others have to go back. So it has to be organized press. You can't have players thinking, do I press or do I go back? Do I press or do I go up? No. So the thing is, when we're in this shape, we need to figure out a way, how do we get these players to press and no, which players are going to press and which players are going to go back. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's a weird one. Because when you have Alonso here, you can't expect this man to come back to make a back five immediately.
It just doesn't have that. Yeah, it
And
just doesn't
even
have
with
that.
James here, no matter how fast you are, even if one James
You're
gets into
not
these
going to come
positions,
back. Yeah.
No. So that means the responsibility has to be taken like a guy like Werner who is here, even though he's not in the box, or like Aspi who is here, even Loftus Cheek who is here. Whereas before our back five would be made with our two wing backs coming back. But since our two wing backs are so high, maybe it would be best off that they stay up and press and try to win back the ball, and then these players get back. And that is why I would like Hudson Odoi to play on the left because he could defend a bit more now.
See, now this is what I wanted to talk to you next up, because this is where the conversation is sort of transitioning into now. From what you've explained, Ryan, I feel like some of the personnel in this particular, because obviously we took the Leeds lineup here, I don't think they're capable of completely executing this game plan that Thomas Tuchel's trying to materialize. Like, for example, Werner. Now, let's talk about with the ball, and then we'll talk about without the ball, right? With the ball, Timo, in that area where you've got him right now, I don't think he's got the skill set to play that role out. I feel like as a wide winger, you need to be excellent 1v1. You need to have the ability to dribble past players. You need to have very, very good final decision making, skill set. And I don't think he's as good over there. I feel like Timo really is a bit of a inside the box sort of player, and put it on the plate for him and he'll put it away. And even then, sometimes he misses. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think Timo, and we're talking about Timo first here, and there are other positions that I want to talk about as well. I feel like Timo is not the right player to have in that area. And as you said, Callum is probably far more suited.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, especially if you're going to have these attacking midfielders there. We don't necessarily need our inward, it's no longer inside forward anymore. We have wide attackers now.
Exactly.
Because we know that Alonso cannot be here consistently on a consistent basis because he doesn't have the speed to. I actually don't mind Alonso here, but we just need to figure out how do we compensate for him being there. But let's get back to your topic. Yes, I agree with you completely. We need a wide winger here. And I would say even though Mason did a good job, I would really love Mason to be in and around the box because he really improved his finishing and final pass. He really is improving. He has his figures is really good this season. Not only that, but the type of goals he's scoring is not no jokey tap-ins. It's quality finishes he's having. And
by the way, for some reason I missed out on the last few. Do you want to just talk from wide wingers? Something happened to my internet. I'll have to check back. But yeah, continue, bro.
Yeah, no, I was just saying we have wide wingers here, right? I would say on the left, I would love to see Hudson and Pulisic get a chance on the wide left. If you're really going to go one-on-one, you want to get these crosses, you want to link up. And I'm thinking Mount here too. I think Mount needs to be on 11 no matter what because he, I think, is the most improved player this season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's been banging in goals recently as well. But I do have to say one thing, Ryan. I feel like where you had Mount previously, where you interchanged him with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I do want to see him there and then someone else. As opposed
That's why I
to
said
Ruben
when we stuck just now, I said that since he's banging in so much goals and he's improved so much in the final third, why not have him here and then as a wide person, why not have Ziyech here who can play those passes in?
Yeah.
Ziyech is good and when Aspi overlap, so even Chalobah could overlap too. You could have Ziyech coming in. And now I know why we really still link to Koundé because he's a right back and he could really get there too to replace Aspi. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, as you're saying here, I would love to see even Pulisic get a chance on the right, if not Ziyech, because Pulisic is really good one-on-one too.
Basically, what you're saying is we need wingers now. We need proper wingers. Do you know what I mean?
I think we do. Callum and Pulisic is proper wingers. They are not inside forwards. They're proper wingers. Callum, I don't like him on the right. I really like him on the left. He's better on the left. He can turn better on the left. He could cut inside better on the left. I think he's too one-dimensional on the right for me.
Do you think having Callum though on the left and the point that you just raised that he likes to cut in, do you think that could be a bit of again, a tactical tweak where in this diagram we're seeing that Alonso's attacking the box, but if Callum is also cutting in, would that then have to shift Alonso out wide a little bit just so that things don't get too congested?
Well, yeah, well, I think that it's always good to have that rotation and always keep
Yeah.
guessing. So I think Alonso and our winger could interchange throughout the game and make that happen. And it depends on the game itself. Sometimes you need that congested box, sometimes you don't. And
True.
another thing I want to say that even though I would like to see Mount here, I don't really mind him on the wide. He does a job there because I'm thinking about one guy who I really want to see play this position. I'm thinking about Kovacic. I think he's a perfect guy. Not only that,
Yeah.
he plays on the, as opposed to Kante, who plays on the right. Kovacic plays on the left, man. He's a
Yeah.
left mid, and we've seen a huge improvement. Not only that, he could receive the ball on the turn, but
Yeah.
his final ball, it has been fantastic.
And not just the final ball's been really good, especially this season. He's finding the final ball quick. He's not letting the defense settle. He gets to, and I think this is a contributor for Lukaku doing well earlier in the season, where there was quite a few assists that were coming from Kovacic, and I think his link up. And Thomas Tuchel said these two players that were, having a very good chemistry with Lukaku was Mason Mount and Kovacic, because they were trying to find Lukaku very quickly. And I think this will be a very, very big factor when Kovacic comes back, is that he doesn't dwell on the ball, Ryan. He's quick thinking, like he's already made his decision before he even gets the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And one thing I know we reached the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
So I just want to say a few things. One more, not much, but I haven't given up on Lukaku yet. I think that he can play against low blocks. I think he will be fantastic against them. We just need to figure out the right chemistry and which players need to be around them. We just need to figure it out. I don't think he hasn't been playing because he's not good. I think he hasn't been playing because he's still getting fit. It's been a while he was out. You never know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Havertz's future in the squad more. I'll say a lot of people are saying that we have different standards for him, that he's not doing enough, but I think that he's improving good. I think physically this season he's
Bro,
improved.
his work rate has been fantastic. I've been praising him a lot in the last, since the Watford game, Ryan. Watford, he was fantastic, especially in the second half. He worked his backside off. Against West Ham, we were looking a lot better with Havertz up front. Obviously, then he got injured, and then we looked a little bit shaky in the second half. But the only thing Havertz is missing right now, Ryan, which he was getting previously, was goals and assists. Now he just needs to add those goals, and he would become the perfect kind of player that we want up front. His work rate has been immense.
And I think his physicality, his strength and power has improved a lot.
Yes.
I'm seeing him holding off players and saying, I never saw it before.
Yeah.
And but one thing I wouldn't mind seeing too is if we really want to get Lukaku in that pretenders to Lukaku.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Havertz play in one of these winger roles, because he could always drift in and roam in, and then Kova could play that wide position more, and Reece could play in, and Rudiger. A lot of things could happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we are lucky to still have so much players when everybody gets back fit. And just to close off, don't worry, we're in good hands. You said that it takes time to change. Look, some managers, it takes months, years to change.
Yeah.
We are seeing rapid changes in Tuchel's tactics weekly. That's a testament to how good our players are and how good the coaching is. I think we'll get there. I think we're seeing the makings of a really good attacking team, and we will reap the rewards for it. Maybe we may not win the title this season, but I think that the foundations of us being a dominant force in Europe and in England for the next couple of years is being set. And not only dominant, but a style of football that is new. Because I've studied a lot of back trees, and this is one of the most dynamic ones I've seen. It's nearly as dynamic as Atalanta, I would say. I think after Atalanta, this is the second most dynamic back three I've seen. That's compared to Conte, Inzaghi, everybody.
I love the fact that the way you've said that right at the end, the optimism, and giving the belief to the fans that just stay patient. I mean, do you know what? Honestly, Ryan, yes, we want to be in a title race, which is fantastic. We should. I've always said it from the beginning of this season. I don't think we are yet completely ready to win the title. If we win it, wow, it would be the biggest achievement, and somewhat overachievement as well. For me, it's next season, because City and Liverpool are thoroughbreds. They are completely fine-tuned machine. Yet,
Hmm.
whereas us, we are just. This is Thomas. Thomas Tuchel hasn't even been here for a year yet. He came in, I
Yeah,
think, 26th of January. So he's still
exactly.
a month away from being here for 12 months.
And look at the bad
Um,
luck we've had with the injuries this season,
yeah,
and we are
yeah.
still up there.
It's
We're
quite
still.
incredible, to honestly. And I feel like, as you're saying, all of these things will tighten up, will be cleaner. Injured players will come back, and even the non-injured players or the backup players, the more they sort of play this way, the more understanding, more chemistry will develop. And you're right, we just need to stay patient. And meanwhile, if we can just keep picking up the 3 points, which is very important, we can be in the mix. Ryan, I'm going to take this off, my man. Wow, wow. Thank you so much for blessing us with the
Yeah,
knowledge
man.
and giving us that information as to what's going on, what is the transition that's taking place, that Thomas Tuchel is trying to implement. Ryan, this has been incredible, my man. What can we expect from you moving forward? I mean, are we going to see you in the channel more often?
Yeah, man. Just hit me up, bro. Anytime you have an idea, hit me up. We'll make something happen.
I love it. I love it, man. Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, please follow Ryan at Carefree Tactics on Twitter. He's an absolute phenomenal person. You know what I mean? He's killing it with the threads. Now he's doing space as well with, I believe, who's that particular account that you're doing the space with?
CFC Central.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out CFC Central, man. Like he does tactical threads also like me, but he does it from a more statistical point of view, and I do it from more like shapes and diamonds and triangles and.
No, no shout out to CFC Central. Only shout out to Carefree Tactics here to Ryan,
Yeah,
ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen.
Who's CFC Central? Yeah.
Everyone, please follow Ryan, and yeah, look out for more sort of shows coming up with Ryan over the festive period and moving into January in the new season. And we're going to try and bring up anything that we see and try and elaborate on it. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you all have enjoyed this. Smash the like button. Make sure you 100% smash the like button. It's directly correlated to the channel's growth. So likes are very important. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.